teaching caused you to want to be ready to change the world? So one thing, he was interested in the things that you were interested in, what you liked, and he didn't give you negative feedback. He didn't make you feel bad. So we positive feedback, motivational, radical. Let's hear some more. Something about your favorite teacher. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's look at what we noticed about our favorite teachers. They were radical, they were knowledgeable, they made their relative to their experience, they loved the content area, they were funny, they were patient, they were challenging, okay? And that person, as you mentioned, sir, influenced your profession today. When we think about that favorite teacher, that favorite teacher has an impact on who we are. That favorite teacher directed our pathway. It made an impression on us. And let's look what we noticed about that favorite teacher that we had. Very rarely was it about the content that makes that person your favorite. Think about it. We get a lot of times educators, we get so kind of stuck in terms of, the content and what it requires to do and all that type of stuff, which is necessary. But it really wasn't the content as much that made them that favorite teacher. I mean, you mentioned radical. He could have gave you the information, but it's how he delivered that information that made that impression on you. It was how he made a relative to your experience that made an impression on you. So we ask ourselves, is it about that favorite teacher? It was not so much the facts and the figures and the numbers, which are all very important, but what did that person show, the influence that they had? What did they resonate in the classroom that made that person have an impact on you? And I'm going to ask you a very challenging question. Are you your favorite teacher? Are you your favorite teacher? Are you, as an educator, exhibiting those qualities that made that person make an impression on you? But sometimes the system can make you hard. The system can try to make you forget. And I understand that. I've been doing this for a long time, and I really get it. But one thing that I really enjoy about doing this for over 2 decades is that my passion is still strong. So one of the things that I want to do with you is, for a couple of minutes that we have together, is reignite your passion about what it means to be an educator, what it means to be a socialist educator, and what you can do as a socialist educator. So George Counts has said, the times are literally crying for a new vision in American destiny. The teaching profession, or at least its progressive elements, should eagerly grasp the opportunity which fates have placed in their hands. And I like Counts because he's very challenging to us as educators and looks at what the influence that we have, which is why I asked you the first question of how many of you remember about what you remember about your favorite teacher. Because I wanted you to remember how influential you are, because sometimes the system will make you feel very small and make it seem like you're very powerless. But you are very, very, very influential, because you're the person that's with that young person that has the ability where one conversation can change the whole trajectory of that child's life. You can actually be compliant to what they're telling you need to do, use informed action as that tool that way, and you can actually do those activities, and then you say, well, this is part of the C3 framework. This is the component saying that we're supposed to be doing. And if I'm not doing informed action, I'm not actually being compliant to what I'm supposed to do as a socialist teacher. You back and say, oh, see what I'm saying? Put this in your unit. Put this in your lessons, because it's there. And then through doing that, you're able to create lessons and curriculum and units that include social justice, because you're supposed to. So the question that you were asking, I'm glad that you mentioned the regions, because as a regions teacher, and I mean many of us are, was like, okay, even in that, how do we do this? Historical event with a current event leading to informed action. How do we make that connection? Let's say we thought in that. I'm not going to go. All right, so I gave you an example. Topic that we normally teach: World War II Japanese internment camp. Current event: Muslim travel ban. Informed action, student video protest example on Facebook. So you're using a topic or an area that you have to teach. You apply a current event, and in doing so, your students may be able to create an informed action type of activity, outreach along that line, in order to be able to be a part of that social justice, using what they give us, that they told that we're supposed to do, and helping you out actually on the regions. If you're a regions teacher, why is this helpful for the regions? This is a golden nugget for the region. I'm asking only because you were concerned about that.
Outside information.
There you go. Now, your regions points just went up. because now they have internalized that outside information, so when it's time to write the essay, they can write about it. And it's not something you're teaching. They have been a part of this thing, so now it's in them, so they can refer, and they can also refer that to other things. So actually, this will help them on their regions. Yes?
Yeah, so the new essay, the Enduring Issues essay,
yes,
where they have to show longevity of an issue, so making it to current events is
okay?
Yeah.
So this is doable. This you can do in your classroom. This is how you can awake consciousness in your classroom, because you're teaching this historical event, you're adding a current event to it, and then maybe you can't do this all the time. It can be a small thing at the end of your week, where it's informed action activities. It can be where you're doing it, where it's at a quarter, depending upon how your school is set up. My school is set up in cycles, where they actually are doing this according to whatever that issue is, and then they come up with something. See, that's what I'm saying. How do we use what we have to be able to do what we want to do regarding awakening our young people with social justice? This is simple, but for your kids, it's monumental.